Hello. Welcome to part 1 of the series on Spotify song name displayer. In this video, I will be guiding you on how to use Spotify Web API with our W5100S-EVB-Pico2 board on CircuitPython. This video will be separated into two parts, which are the Spotify platform preparation and the codes on CircuitPython. Links related will be provided in the description below. Before starting the project, remember to set up the board on CircuitPython by following our YouTube Shorts guide. Now, let's get started. First, start by signing up as a developer on the Spotify API website. After that, go to the Dashboard tab and create your app on the dashboard. On the Create App page, write down the app name and description for your app. The app name will not be used in the program, so you can name whatever feels convenient and recognizable to you. For this project, I just simply name it as Spotify Account Name Displayer, as it is very easy to understand. For the redirect URI, we will be using http://bin.org to obtain the authorization code for OAuth process. Check the Web API box and save your app. You should now see your new app on the front page of your dashboard. Next, we need to obtain our ID and secrets of the app. Go to the app that you set up just now. Click on the Setting tab, and you should see details of the app. Here you can obtain your ID and secrets code by clicking on View Secrets tab. On your microcontroller, create a text file and rename it as secrets.py. Inside, create a JSON object by copying corresponding information to this file. We can ignore the value for auth token for the time being. Next, let's move on to the codes on CircuitPython. Unzip necessary libraries to the lib folder from Adafruit's CircuitPython library bundle. You can download the bundle zip folder on CircuitPython's Libraries page. Open your code.py file and import the following libraries. You would also need to import classes and functions from Digital.io and Wiznet library. After that, let's set up our board to connect to the internet. Use Bus.io library to set up the SPI interface and initialize the Ethernet interface with our Wiznet 5K function. Set up the request session next to communicate with servers by the following codes. The Ethernet setup section is now completed. Let's move on to getting the client's credentials. Start by using try except keyword to import secrets.py. The program will terminate if there is no secrets.py file. Assign the different key values pairs inside the secrets JSON to local variables. We can ignore loading the auth token for the time being. Next, we need to define which information we would like to obtain from Spotify. Referring to the Spotify API page, scopes refers to the limitations of the amount of information or the number of functions of your account to be accessed or used from third-party programs. To display our name form the Spotify account, we only need the user read private scope. In the editor, define a scope list and enter the required scope. We will need to add more scope during the later part of the series. Next, let's begin setting up the authorization flow in our microcontroller. On the Spotify API webpage, you can find the information for requesting user authorization on the Authorization tab under Tutorial. To use the redirect link to obtain the code in CircuitPython, we need to redirect manually to http://bin.org in the editor. After translating the JS script to our compiler, we can now print the link by this format onto the serial of the code editor. Notice all the required headers needed for authorization are already included in this link. Scope is written in this format as %20 is the space character in URL encoding, and it can be used to combine the multiple scopes into a string. You can now run the program once and see if the serial printed a redirect link. Click on the link on the serial and you should be transferred to this page. You should be able to see your app name on top of this authorization page. Press the Accept button and you should be transferred to the HTTP bin org page with the authorization code. Copy this for now. Next, let's exchange this code for an authorization token. We can refer to Spotify's web API page on how to proceed the exchange process. Let's paste the code you copied first onto a local variable. We will then read the exchange process together afterwards. You can find the Token API under the Authorization tutorial page. On the page, we need to use POST method to exchange the token. For the body, we will need the authorization code acquired just now, the redirect URI, and a predefined grant type. For the headers, we will need a predefined content type and our client credentials containing our ID and our secrets. From the doc, we are required to encode the credentials in base 64 format before proceeding to the process. After looking at the documentation, we can now start to code in our editor. First, let's start by encoding our client credentials in base 64 format. In CircuitPython, we can use the bin ASCII library to change strings into base 64 format. In our code, we first encode the credentials in UTF-8 and decode the credentials to Unicode string before using the base 64 function. Complete the body parameters by setting a dictionary named data and store the values according to the Spotify API page. Follow the API page to complete the headers dictionary too. Make sure the formats are correct. We can now post a request to Spotify API page. Referring back to the Spotify API page, we need to request to a specific URL to exchange the token. Use the request post function from Adafruit Requests library to send the request to Spotify API page using the specific URL, the data dictionary, and the headers dictionary. Now, let's go back to Spotify to understand what the response returns. From the response JSON object, we can obtain the auth token by reading the access token key of the JSON. Therefore, in our program, we can print the token to the serial by reading the access token key in the response JSON. This token will be copied and pasted to the auth token key under the secrets.py file. I added a sysexit function since I want the program to terminate after obtaining the token. You can now run the program once. You should see a token available on your terminal. Remember to copy and paste this code to your secrets.py file. Lastly, since I already exchanged the token, we do not need this section of the code. Simply comment the code of token exchange until the token expired, which is around an hour long. This concludes the section for exchanging the token. If in the main program you cannot read your name from Spotify webpage, it might mean that your token is expired and you will be required to follow the previous steps again to obtain the token. Remember to comment the token exchange section after obtaining it and copy to secrets file. With the auth token, we can now obtain information from the Spotify webpage. Let's test the API by printing our name to the serial. You can find the available functions under the reference column on the Spotify web API page. To obtain our name, go to the user section and click into Get Current User Info tab. You should arrive on this page, where you should be able to see the API link, request sample, and the response sample which contains your display name. Notice in the sample, a headers containing your auth token will be needed to form the request. Let's go back to CircuitPython. Start by importing the auth token stored in your CircuitPy file and store it into the headers object according to the format on Spotify's web API. Post a request get method to obtain the current user profile with the API link on the web page. Obtain our name by accessing the name request JSON and reading the display name key. Lastly, print the name to see if the API works. Run the program once, and if successful, the terminal should show your name inside your Spotify profile. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below and see if I can help you with your project. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel for the upcoming videos related to this topic. On the next video, I will be guiding you on how to use the 1602 LCD screen with the W5100S-EVB-Pico2 to display your Spotify name onto the screen.
See you soon.